Hello, everybody. It's Angelique coming to you live from the Shoe Chick Art Studio in fabulous Las Vegas. And today we are painting The Fight for Breast Cancer Awareness. This is actually not the original painting. It's a little messy. It's someone else's painting because I left the original painting at the gig I did the other day, the gig I did yesterday for breast cancer awareness. The original is absolutely lovely. I love it. And you can see it on your reference photo that you're going to use today to paint along with me. This one is very, very dear to my heart, a very, very dear subject. So my best friend in December of 2020, just recently, not even a year yet, passed away from breast cancer. And so I wanted to do a new painting because I have been doing some breast cancer paintings to celebrate her life. And unfortunately, I'm sure that many of you know people that have been affected by breast cancer, or maybe you're a survivor, and God bless you, or maybe you've recently been diagnosed, and my prayers are with you. And maybe you're going to paint this painting to help lift your spirits, or maybe you're painting it for someone else. But anyway, we're going to move ahead and we're going to paint The Fight. And again, my name is Angelique, and this is basically how it works. I take you about 90% through the painting, give you the lay of the land, and then I leave you alone to finish the painting by yourself. You can get kits shipped to you. You can pick them up if you're locally here in Las Vegas. I deliver, so there's many, many ways to get your hands on this paint kit. And I am the shoe chick because 10% of everything I do goes to help kids in Africa get shoes. So if you want to know more information about that, or more information about me personally, or buy stuff, you can go to the shoechickstore.com. I actually have this picture in a print too that's really cool if you want to send it to somebody, okay? So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go over your kit. You got a cup. You're going to fill it halfway with water. You're going to take all the lids and all that tape and stuff off all your paint so it looks like this. I'm painting with the exact same materials that you're painting with, and I'm painting live. That means anything can happen. I might drop something. I might mess. I don't like to say mess up or make mistakes because in art there are no mistakes. But I might do something a little differently. And my paint parties are Paint Party 101, okay? The idea is to create something pretty close but not exactly, right? Use your own. If you want to do something different, do something different. It's your painting. So I go kind of fast on YouTube. I've been told that, and I'm aware. So I like to tell people it's a video. So stop stressing out and just pause it. Even if you're painting with a big group, just pause it till everyone's caught up and then move on to the next step, okay? So I'm going to use the sponge brush first, and as you can see, I already dunked it in the water. That's why it's glistening. But you're going to dunk that in the water, and then you're going to apply a light coat of water to the canvas. And the reason why you're doing that is you're just activating the canvas so that it's ready to accept paint, okay? These are dry and brittle and stuff like that, and, you have to do that. And usually, like in the real art world, they usually prep the canvas by using gesso or maybe a couple of coats of white paint. But in the paint party world, we just use a little water and we just activate the canvas just like that. Now, if you put too much water on that, you're going to use your highly absorbent blue paper towel, and you're going to dab it off a little bit because we don't want it to be dripping wet, okay? Then the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to use this mixing tray. So take your paints off the mixing tray, and we're going to do the background first, and then we're going to paint The Fighter. It's called The Fight. That's the name of the painting. So anyway, so I'm putting a little bit of white in the corner of my tray, and then I'm going to put a little bit of black in another corner of my tray. Tiny, tiny bit of black. I'm talking tiny. Like, that's too much what I got in there. Can you see? So I'm going to take, with my sponge brush, I'm going to take a little bit, just a dot of the black, and I'm going to mix it in with the white. And I just took a dot because I want my background, you can't even see it because it's so light, because I want my background to be pretty light. So I put another dot in there so you can see it a little bit better. There's the gray. That's better because the light's hitting it wrong. Okay, so a little bit of gray. And what I'm going to do is, I don't want to use the sponge brush right away. I'm going to use this flat tip brush right here. And I'm going to put a little bit of water on it from my water cup. And then I'm going to go into that gray paint that I painted. And I'm going to outline her. I'm going to outline the glove. And I'm going right on top of those trace lines, okay? And I'm going to outline her hand, her arm there, the glove, her little head wrap there. And let's see. I have to look at my reference photo because I'm a little confused. Okay. So if you get confused, just look at your reference photo because you really don't have to outline the bow because we're going to paint, the wrap, because we're going to paint around it black, but that's cool. And then, so remember when I said there's some mistakes I do sometimes? Well, that was kind of like something I didn't need to do. So you can outline that if you want, but really the bigger outline is her afro, right? So you might not want to outline the ribbon because we're going to go around. That's going to be an afro. All right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the background in gray. So I'm going to use the sponge brush. I'm going to go into that gray paint that we mixed. And then I'm just going to fill in the background gray. And this one's a little darker than in the reference photo, and I'm okay with that. So, painting in gray. And I'm even going to paint the sides, because when you hang this painting up, you won't need a frame. If you paint the sides, it'll look finished. So I'm going to paint I'm going to play a little nondescript music, so my video doesn't get taken down by YouTube. But, so just paint in the background. If you're confused, look at your reference photo or watch me paint. So a little bit of water if your paint's getting sticky. I always say that. My paint's kind of drying up in that tray already. Painting in the background gray. You can paint the sides, don't forget. And if you're confused, like I was a little confused, I had to look and make sure I'm painting the gray right. And I am. Alright. So it might take you a little bit longer, and that's okay. Because you can put me on pause and wait for everybody to catch up, right? And so now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go, the next color we're going to use is brown. Now, when you're painting, especially in Paint Party 101, I like to think of it as like coloring, but just like with a paintbrush, right? So we're going to outline it and then paint it in. And the next color that we're going to use is brown. I got to take a little bit of coffee here. It's kind of in the morning here in Las Vegas, and it's kind of like a rainy, gloomy day. So I'm not drinking wine yet. I'm drinking coffee out of my favorite coffee mug. Isn't it cute? That's the art by Miss Annie Lee, the person that inspired me to start painting. I am a self-taught artist, so I hope that encourages you. And you know how you get better? You keep painting. That's it. Like, I always doodled as a little kid, and then I just started painting when I worked with Annie, and I saw that, you know, they sketch first, and then they paint, and that just, like, motivated me to try my hand at painting. And I've probably done over 400 paint parties here in Las Vegas. Isn't that cool? And I hope that I got to paint with you, or will get to paint with you. So, moving on. I'm using that flat tip brush, right? That same flat tip brush. Now you have two blue handle ones. You have one that looks like this, and then that we just outlined with. Then you have one that you haven't used yet, and that one, this one's kind of funky. It's got hair sticking up on it, but anyway, that's a pointed or a detail brush that we're going to use later. So this brush right here has gray on it. I'm swishing it around, and we're painting with acrylic paints. Acrylic paints wash pretty easily off your skin, not so easily off your clothes. That's why I hope you put that apron on that's in your baggie that I forgot to mention. And you fully open it up and put it over your head, okay? Acrylic paints are water-based, but once they dry, they pretty much are going to be set in your clothing. So if you get it on your clothes, you want to just get it out with some water and soap like right away, okay? If you get it on your hands and stuff, it washes off so easily. Okay, so going into the brown with that, not the detail brush, the flat one, right? Going into the brown. I'm going directly into the brown, and I know that there's different shades, and maybe you're making a Caucasian lady, I don't know. But all you got to do, if you want her a lighter shade, you're going to put the brown in one corner, the white in the other corner, and mix that color just the way that you want it, okay? I'm just going to go straight into the brown, and I'm going to outline her. Where I need the brown at is all where I'm going to outline. Again, if you're confused, watch me or look at the reference photo. So all these areas I'm outlining right now are going to be brown. So her face, her shoulder, and her neck right here. Okay? Now, you can take this little brush and continue to paint it in with that brush. And that's fine. And I'm a little impatient, so, or for the sake of the video, I'm going to use my sponge brush. Am I going to use my sponge brush? No, I'm not going to use my sponge brush. I'm going to do it with this. But you can use your sponge brush and like put it in the water, swish it around, squeeze it out, and then you can use it for her face if you don't want to fill this big area with this paintbrush. But it's really not that bad. So I'm going to use the same paintbrush. And don't worry about the details. We just want to get the paint down first. And you'll see like it'll look a little streaky. But when you apply a second coat later, you can get rid of those streaks. Again, I always say this, if the paint's not flowing the way you want, just add a little bit of water to the paintbrush. Acrylic paints are really a good medium to work with. They're a great starting point for artists because they're such a great, they're so just easy to work with. You just lay the paint down, brush it out, smooth it out. You can blend them. They dry very quickly. It dries very quickly. So I got her face there. And I'm giving long brush strokes, just trying to even out the complexion a little bit. But really, like when you get your nails done, it's the same kind of, same paint, right? It's acrylic paint. So as you apply coats, it's going to become more opaque and give a different look to the paint, right? Different finish to the paint. So you might want to apply another coat to her beautiful skin later, okay? So that wasn't so bad, just using this brush. So I'm done with that. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, and I'm thinking, you can see I'm thinking while I'm talking to you, right? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go use pink. I'm going to use the magenta. And it's very dark. And if you look at the painting, you have a dark magenta. And if you look at the reference photo, it's a little dark in her headband. It's a little dark on her boxing gloves. And then it's a little dark on the outline of her t-shirt and the ribbon, right? So when you're using a color, you want to use it everywhere that you need to use it. Now, I know I did that really fast, so I know you're still working on it, so I'm going to babble just a little bit in hopes that you'll catch up and don't have to put me on pause. But if you have to put me on pause, that is perfectly fine. Okay? So then to change colors, we always swish the brush around in the water, and then we wipe it off on our paper towel, okay? So with everything we do, we outline it first and we paint it in. Now these boxing gloves are pretty big, so maybe I'm gonna use the sponge brush for that, but I'm not sure yet, depending on how I feel when we get to that point, okay? So I swished my brush around in the water, I wiped it off on my paper towel. Doesn't matter how yucky your water gets, just make sure that you wipe it off on the paper towel right. Good. And then I'm gonna outline where I want my pink to go. Now, I left her headband blank because I thought it would be fun if you had, you made your own patterns on her headband. So maybe some polka dots, maybe some hearts. I don't know. So I am outlining her boxing gloves. The fight for breast cancer has like a totally new meaning to it. after watching how my friend fought, and she really fought. Like, she just wanted one more day to be here. And I'm amazed that I can talk without crying right now. But I know she's at peace now. But man, when I saw, there were good days and there were bad days. There were a lot of bad days at the end, and she refused to be doped up or smoke weed or take edibles or anything. She wanted to be in her right mind for the whole process. Even when she was on hospice and a feeding tube and all that, she was tough. My friend was tough. She was a badass, man. Excuse my language. But she really fought to live just another day. And, I always wonder what the impact, when we lose someone, what was the impact they were supposed to have on your life? And it sure did make me appreciate life more and just really feel blessed that I had her in my life as a best friend for 25 years. So, moving on to the headband. So I did the outline of the ribbon, I did her gloves, and then the headband I'm going to fully outline. And this is where I kind of messed up earlier, if there's a such thing as mistakes, which is not. But this is dry now, so I can go over it, because I really didn't mean to put gray there. But it's okay. Look at that. Now it's pink. All right. So right over that, I'm going to decide where I want my pink. And I'm just going to randomly, I'm not even trying to get, I'm close to the, I'm not trying to do it exactly like the painting. Because, art is an expression of who you are in the moment, right? It would be really tough for me to get it just like on the reference photo. Plus, I'm painting sideways. Y'all realize that, right? I'm painting sideways, so it's kind of tough. But anyway. So I do want that to be dark magenta or pink. I'm going to do the outline of it a little darker. And then I'm just going to, and again, you can have fun with the headband. Make it any way you want, right? Okay, now painting on those big old boxing gloves. You can use the same brush like this and paint it in. Using long brush strokes, right? If you use long brush strokes, it's not very hard. Now, if you go little by little, it's going to take you a long time. If I'm using long brush strokes, look how fast that was. Okay? So I'm going to play a little music as you catch up. Okay? So, let's see. Okay, next I'm going to make some light pink. I'm going to mix a little white and a little pink and make a lighter pink and fill in the headband. And paint in the breast cancer ribbon there. Just like we made that gray, I'm going to add a little bit of white to the pink and make a lighter pink, right? And then I'm going to fill in, I know we got gray going on in there too. I'm going to add gray later. I'm just going to fill in all the white spaces with this light pink that I made. So a lot of times when I'm painting with videos, I watch them all the way through first and then I paint. So I know what I'm getting into. Probably should have told you that at the beginning. But that's for your next paint kit that you get from me. Okay? That's just a little tip when you get your next paint kit. Maybe watch the video all the way through. Alright, so I have that light pink in there, right? That I just mixed. If you notice on those boxing gloves, there's a little light pink right here. Kind of like reflection points. Kind of gives the impression that they're shiny, a little glistening. You know how shiny boxing gloves are? So that light pink might be a little bit too light. Well, it might look a little too light, but I'm going to turn the light away. See how it looks really? And if you think it's like too light and you want it to be a little darker, guess what? Just go right into your magenta and paint right over it. Because I didn't like, that was a little too light. So I'm just painting right over it with the dark magenta, and I'm getting like a blending effect that I wanted. Isn't that cool how easily you can blend acrylic paints? So I like that a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I wanted to add a little bit of light pink too to her neckline here. A little bit right there too, I think. It's a little light, so I'm going right over it with a little bit more pink and lighten it up a little bit. Darken it up a little bit. All right, I'm happy with that. And next, I am going to, oh my goodness. Remember I said about mistakes? Look at this mistake I made. Or no mistakes, but the little thing that I didn't do. Her arm right here. It's supposed to be brown. Okay, so, so I'm going to swish my brush right in the water. Maybe you caught that. I'm going to dry it off on my paper towel, and I'm going to paint her arm in brown. Oh, my goodness. I love when I make not mistakes, but I love when I do something that I wasn't supposed to in my head. Because it shows you how you can go back and fix it, right? So, painting her arm in brown. I can't believe I didn't do that. I wonder if you caught that at home. And you painted her arm in brown. I was so concerned with not forgetting this part because I did my party yesterday and I forgot that part, that I forgot the main arm right here. Okay, long strokes, adding a little bit of water. And then I'm going to go over her face again because I want to smooth it out a little bit more, and it's dry now. So it's really going to make a difference, okay? So I'm going over her face one more time, and you just catch up, okay, with wherever you're at. So as you can see, when you add that second coat, if you want it to be darker, that's going to happen. If you mix the other color and you made her lighter, it's just going to look better. Okay. Now when we put our hair on there, that's what's really going to bring it together. Alright, and I'm closing all the white spaces in between the colors. If that makes sense. Alright. And it doesn't look smooth to you, but it will. I'm trying to turn the light away. And if it still doesn't look smooth to you, put a little bit of water on your brush and do some long brush strokes and even it out. And I'm telling you, in the morning or within 24 hours when the paint cures, it's going to look beautiful. Okay? All right. So my next step. A little too bright there. Okay, so my next step is black. And I'm going to do her afro. So I switch the brush around in my water using that same brush still. Going to go into the black paint. Going to outline the fro. And don't worry about the texture and everything, because that comes last. I'm going to get around that ribbon there. That's a tight spot right there, so I'm painting that in right away. And another tight spot is right here for her shoulder. So you want to paint that in too. Going to go around this right here. And outline her band. I hope you did something fun and creative on her band there. Alright, and then we're going to paint it in. I'm going to use a sponge brush that we used earlier. I'm going to put it in my water and I'm going to squeeze it out. Just like this. Look, it's messy. But you get messy when you paint sometimes. Squeeze it out. Wipe it off. Because I want it to be pretty dark. You can even squeeze it out in that blue paper towel. And then I'm just going to fill in our afro. Now you can use that other brush if you feel more comfortable and you don't want to get your hands all dirty, okay? And it's kind of tight around her ribbon there, so I'm going to switch back to this brush, go into my black, and get around that ribbon. Make sure that there's no white coming through. All right. Then this is fun part. You might have a Q-tip, and I'm looking to see if I have one around me, but I might have to get up and get one. You might have a Q-tip in your kit. You might not. If you don't fear. Don't fret. No big deal. I don't have one with me. But what we're going to do is you're going to take the corner of this brush, right? And we're going to tap along the edges to get that textured effect. Right around the edges. And that's how we get the effect on the fro. And if you have a Q-tip in your kit, you can put the Q-tip in your paint and just go right around the edges too. You get more of a round circle. But this one, when you do it like this, you get a round effect too if you use the corner of the paintbrush. I don't really have a signature style, but I think when you see afros on a painting, you can tell if it's an Angelique, because I love doing the afros. I don't know why, I just think it's fun. And so I'm going on the edges here. And then I like to have a few little flyaways. So I'll put one out there that just doesn't even make sense. I don't know, I just like to do that. Just press down with the corner. And you even want to press down in the middle of the afro. You might not think it makes a difference, but you can kind of see those brush strokes in there. So And I'm going to grab a Q-tip real quick because I want you to see the effect if you use a Q-tip. And then if I'm looking at her punching glove right here, if you want to get the hair just like that, maybe come out a little bit more, I'm going to do that with the Q-tip. Be right back. Bam, just like that. Look, right back. Q-tip in the black paint. If you don't have one in your kit, it's okay. You can use the corner. If you do have one in your kit, you just go right into the black paint. Tap along the edges and tap in the inside. And then something fun, like you should still have a little gray paint in your mixing tray. And if you don't, kind of mix up a little bit of gray paint. Not too light. And it doesn't mean she has gray hair, really. It's just going to add a little texture effect to her afro. Just trying to see if you can see that on the camera. See if you add a little bit of white, a little bit of gray in there. It's kind of cool the way it shows up. You might not be able to see the full effect on camera, but you'll get it as you start. But make sure you got to put some dots in the inside of that fro to create a little bit of a textured effect. I'm trying to get the light right there. Okay? So just keep playing around with your fro till you get it how you want it to be. I just wanted to turn the light like that so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So there needs to be dots all in there so you can get the texture thing going. And again, you can use this flat tip brush. Alright, so I mixed a little gray for her hair. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that gray that I mixed, and I'm going to add a streak of gray to that band because I wanted a little gray in there too. Alright. See how she's coming together there? Alright, so we're about 90% through the painting, but I got 2 more steps to show you. Then I'm going to leave you alone to complete the painting yourself, okay? Alright, so another step. One of the steps, we're going to take the pointed brush, which mine's a little frayed. Yours probably isn't. Okay? And then I'm going to go right into my black paint. I'm not even going to put water on it. And I'm going to outline, not with a hard outline, just a little bit here and there. Take a look at your reference photo. I don't want to line around everything, because then it'll look like a coloring book, right? I think some important ones is her chin, right? And that line right there. So I'm doing the gloves. Just kind of work your way around the painting. Her shirt's pretty important because we want to outline her shirt here. Okay? Look how she's coming together. Isn't she coming together? I get all excited. I wish I was with you. That's like my favorite part of the painting is seeing how everyone's looks. So just work your way around the painting. Add a little black outlines and highlights, separating the colors a little bit there. If you're confused, just take a look at the reference photo. Pretty much everything's outlined. It's just not a hard outline, okay? Even the ribbon a little bit, I think. Just a little tiny bit in the ribbon, not a whole lot. If the paint's sticky, what do? Add a little bit of water. Now you can paint her shirt white if you want. That's not something I did. I used the white of the canvas to come through. But you certainly can if you want. I used the white of the canvas to serve as the white. Now this is the very, very last step. Now this paint is nowhere near done. You still need to work on it. You still need to clean it up a little bit. The whole paint process is about 2 to 3 hours. I think I did this tutorial in maybe like 30 minutes. So it's just to give you the lay of the land and then let you loose on the painting, okay? So I'm going to take this brush right here, the flat tooth brush, tip brush that we're using so much, swish it around in my water really, really good. Wipe it really good on my paper towel. Going to go into my white paint, and then I'm going to add a few little motion brush strokes around everything. And it's pretty heavy paint that I'm putting here and there. I guess that's one of my signature marks there. And I'm also going to put some reflection points on her gloves there. I like doing that part. Kind of brings the paint to life. Okay, so I think I said that was the last step, but it's not. If you notice that we haven't done everything on her face. If you want to, you go back to that detail brush, swish it around in your water. And then just randomly put some brush strokes on her face because she's pretty beat up. Because when you're in that fight with breast cancer, it's no joke. You got to really be a fighter. You got to stay positive. You need to lean on your friends and find support. I was with my friend as much as I could be. She's in Arizona. I traveled up and down that freeway a lot. Don't forget the bumps and bruises on her arm, because this lady is a fighter. She is a fighter, and that's what you got to do. And not just breast cancer. When you want something, when you're sick, we've been through some, I've been through some stuff, man. We've all been through some stuff. Shoot, this pandemic, you had to be a fighter, right? We're all still here, so that means that God's not done with us. He has a purpose for us. I like doing the little number sign there, the little pound sign. Because that, I don't know, that really makes her look kind of beat up there. And that's the final finishing touches. I want to share something with you all. And in closing, this is something I keep on my wall. I want you to see my best friend. Isn't she beautiful? This was at her 50th birthday party, about 4 years before she passed. And this hangs on my wall because I was so sad when she passed. You can just imagine, my very, very best friend. And I hope this brings you comfort when you lose a loved one, when you're trying to make sense of it all. So I want to read this to you. It says, I'm still trying to figure out, why did God have to take my best friend? Why did he have to take your mom, your sister, your auntie? And every time I hear, lean not into your own understanding. Then I was told to seek God for wisdom and understanding, and not to question God. So I prayed, and this is what God told me. This is what I heard. God told me, I gave you 25 years of friendship with a loving, beautiful spirit. This spirit was supportive, never judgmental, and never jealous. You inspired and you learned from each other. You had lots of laughs and fun. I protected you when y'all didn't use your best judgment. I gave you the big sister you were longing for. And until her last day, and even in her death, you've experienced unconditional love. Man, I get chills just reading that, because I know that was God speaking to me, because some of these words unconditional love, I didn't even really understand what that was until I met my best friend. So I hope that brings you some joy if you've lost a loved one, to know that there are no mistakes. Their purpose was done here on this earth in their fleshly body, and that yours is not. Your work is not done. So keep on pushing, keep on moving, keep on striving, keep on trying to find your purpose, helping people, serving people, and loving God. I hope you enjoyed this paint party. Keep working on your painting. I'd love to see them. Please follow my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Friend me on Facebook. Stay in touch. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.